Well, good morning, everybody, and it's a great, beautiful day. It's Wednesday. The sun is shining, and you know what? I think we need some lighting. Give me 1 second. There we go. I think we're a little better lighting. A little late getting things together, but here we are. It's a nice sunny day. Great joy in our house, in our home. But before we go there, I just want to remind everybody that it's Wednesday. And Wednesday morning, we do JTEX. We announce our JTEX project. That is Sunday and Wednesday at 7 p.m. You get a text. It's a little tidbit of Jewish information and Jewish knowledge. The seventh person who answers it correctly wins a bottle of wine for Shabbat. And please sign up, jewishcenter.info, JTEX. And then you'll be joined a growing community of people who, in isolation, who had stayed home, are together with everybody all around. It takes a few minutes to sign up, a few minutes of a chuckle every Sunday and Wednesday, and you become part of this wonderful community of seekers and learners. So take a moment, jewishcenter.info, JTEX. So, yesterday we had a wonderful day. Today we talk about inspirational stories and messages. But you know what? Many times we tell stories about other people in other times, and today's story is going to take us back to the late 19th century. But you know what? The reality is that we are each writing our own story. And while you're writing a story, you don't realize that it's a story that has chapters and paragraphs and sections. I went a little backwards. Paragraphs, chapters, and sections. And slowly the story of your life is written. And one day, hopefully, it will be an inspiration for others. Well, my dear friends, as many of you know, in our family, we started writing a new chapter of life for the Shem Tovs, and I think, in a sense, for the Bucks County community, with the engagement of my son Chaim. My son Chaim formalizes engagement to Nina Begun, a wonderful young woman originally from Brazil. Her family still lives in Brazil, but they met, and she lives in New York. And we're obviously very excited, not just for ourselves, but for all of those that are watching that know Chaim, watched him grow up. Now you will continue to read his story, read our story as our personal family, and our collective story as our community. I want to just quickly see if I can bring up a picture of Chaim and Nina very quickly to share the excitement. I believe this is the way I'll do it. Let me start small. Here they are. Here they are, and here they are, Chaim and Nina. And hopefully, once we are able to figure out the whole social distancing, partying of these days, we will let you know how we're going to celebrate together. But in the meantime, let's celebrate together in spirit and in heart and in joy. And as everything we do in our community, it's our simcha, it's your simcha, it's a collective simcha, and we'd like to wish them well and everybody else as well. And hopefully, the great energy that they bring, a great energy of joy and light that they bring into our lives, both us as a family and in our community, should spread and continue to bring positive energy into these challenging times. So that's the segue into our story, talking about positive energy. So this story takes us back actually to rural Pennsylvania. It's a little local, back in the late 1800s, 1863 to be exact. And there was this young boy who needed to make a living, needed to make some money, and he would go from house to house selling trinkets. At one point, he got so disappointed, he got so disillusioned by the rudeness of certain people. You know, kid comes to your house, somebody comes to your door, you're not interested, you don't have to slam your door, just say, thank you, not for us. But people aren't like that, and sometimes we're also not like that when we get annoyed at the wrong time. It could be someone knocking on your door or somebody calling the phone. You know, just hang up, just say no, thank you, and hang up the phone. There's another person on the other line who's trying to make a living. That's a side note. Well, this kid is trying to make a living before there were robocalls, and he was selling trinkets from house to house, and he was just so disappointed. He was just about to give up. He had a hard day. And naturally, not only was a hard day, he was hungry, and he needed to eat something. He didn't have much money. He had a dime in his pocket. That's all he had, 10 cents. Now, it is 1863. 10 cents then went a long way. So he decided the next house he's going to go to, he will ask them if they have food. He's very hungry, and he'll offer to pay. Seems like a pretty decent proposal. The only thing is that in the light of our engagement, you know what happens when a young man meets a young woman at the door. And the next door he opens up, and there's this young woman who answers the door, and this young boy kind of felt a little embarrassed that he's asking for a meal. You know, it's not cool, or whatever they would call it back then. So he swiftly changed his strategy, and he asked this young woman this, perhaps she would have a glass of water for him. That sounds reasonable. You're traveling, there's no water around, you're not a beggar, you're not a shmata, as they say in Yiddish. So she asked him for a glass of cold water. She comes back not with a glass of cold water, but with a glass of milk. For this young boy trying to earn a couple pennies, that was huge. So he drinks slowly this delicious glass of milk. And then he says, "Can I pay you for the milk? It's not cheap. It's not water." And she says, "No, that's okay. My mom taught us never to accept payment for kindness." The boy was stunned. Not only did he find this young, pretty girl at the door, and not only was he able to eat something, but she was actually nice, and she didn't want any money. And he was really touched. And he said, "Well, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. That's the best I can give." And she said, "You're welcome." And he went home a changed person just from that act of kindness. Well, a number of years later, this young woman grew up, and she fell ill, and she became very, very sick. She was admitted to the hospital. She had this rare form of cancer, and the doctors really could not help her. As the last resort, they called in the doctor that was on call then, Dr. Howard Kelly, who was at the Johns Hopkins, I think he was the head of the Johns Hopkins University of Gynecologic Oncology Unit. Okay? So he's the head of the Gynecologic Oncological Unit. I'm sorry, doctors, if I messed that one up, but you know what I'm saying. And he comes, he sees, first of all, he looks at her chart, and he says, "You know what, let me go look at her, visit her, see what she's like." And then when he goes into the room to see this woman, he immediately recognizes her. Although this was many years later, she didn't recognize him. And when he saw the chart and he saw this woman, he told his staff, "I'm taking this case. I'm going to see what I can do." And he was on this case day and night, and it was a very, very long journey. But finally, she came through. And at the end, before they were going to discharge her, he asked his staff, they liked them to show him the bill before they give it to the family. This was back then. I guess they billed you right away, no insurance claims as we do today. And he wanted to sign off on the bill first. He looks the bill, and you can imagine it was quite high, a lot of service, a long time of recovery. And at the end, he crosses out the total, and he writes, "Paid in full with a glass of milk." And he gives it to her. And then she remembers who he was. And of course, she was very thankful. It's a beautiful story. It's a story, you do a favor for someone, and then many years later you get paid back, and that's why it's always good to be nice. I want to teach a deeper lesson to that story. It's not so simple. You did something for someone, and many years later, you get the favor paid back. See, when you do something for someone, you are bringing positive energy into this world. The moment before you did this favor, that positivity and that positive energy did not exist in that world, that degree. When I do something of kindness, when you do something of kindness, when this young woman gave this man, young boy or teenager, a glass of milk, she did more than do this person a favor. As we know, in this guy's head, this boy's head, he was very disappointed. He was very down besides being hungry. So in addition to feeding him, giving him something to drink, it also lifted his spirits. It didn't only lift his spirits, it brought a positive energy into the world. That positive energy continues to create more positive energy. ultimately, if you're lucky, you feel that energy coming back as well. So it's not that I'm doing a favor for someone and maybe one day they'll pay me back. The moment you do the favor, you are doing something that you benefit by bringing that positive energy into the world that we live in. And this is such a powerful and important story for us as we live during these challenging times. Because in fact, it is very challenging. And there is a lot of stress and hardships and struggles that we go through personally, our families, our country, the entire world. But we each have a choice every day. Do we want to be part of that darkness and challenge? Or do we want to be people that bring positive energy into the world? We may not be able to measure the impact, the global impact of one little act of kindness, but it is there, like throwing a little pebble into the ocean, creating ripples throughout the entire world. So when you have an opportunity to do something good today and every day, and it could be hard, it's not always easy to do something good when you're either stressed out or living in the stay-at-homes, whatever we call this period of time, to be able to focus on energy. But remember, it's not just about that little act. It's not just about that little overcoming the stress and being kind and nice. It is something we are infusing this world with that reverberates throughout all of creation and really comes back to you. So let's think of the possibility to do acts of kindness whenever it comes, as hard as it may be. It is hard. I know it's hard. I know from my own personal experiences, the challenges and the struggles we all go through. But when you do something good, you're not just doing that act of good, and you're not just doing that act of good to the person to whom you show it. You benefit, the world benefits, and everything else around us will be better. So have a wonderful day. Have a meaningful day. And in fact, I'm going to challenge you. Don't wait for those moments of kindness opportunities to come to you. Create those moments. You will feel a lot better. The world will be a lot better. So have a wonderful day. And I hope to see you tomorrow morning again at 8:30 a.m., where we will continue this conversation through the discussion of the big ideas of Judaism. I do want to point out that if you miss a class, or if you weren't able to join one morning, I'm always posting links to the recordings on our website. Of course, I have to show that once in a broadcast, virtualjewishcenter.org. If you go on virtualjewishcenter.org, you go down to the coffee and library room, scroll down, you will see, like in any library, the links to the sessions that we have. If you're missing something, you can always email me and let me know, and I can try to send you a link directly. But for now, not only respond to kindness, but make sure you're able to find kindness, because the kindness has a lot of impact. And usually I say to you, to the whole world, I'm going to say the other way around. The kindness you do has an impact in the entire world, but to you as well. Have a wonderful day.